Hello, Grace Word family. I'm so glad that I get to bring you the devotional today. The verse from today is Mark 1:16-18, and what it says is this. Passing alongside the Sea of Galilee, being Jesus, he saw Simon, also known as Peter, and Andrew, the brother of Simon, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And Jesus said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." And immediately they dropped their nets and they followed him. Now, oftentimes I wonder what it was like to be a disciple. Like, did they understand what was actually happening in those moments? Like the fact that they literally just, they were following the greatest person to ever live on this earth, Jesus Christ, God in flesh. Like, did they understand that? Did they understand the gravity of the situation that they were walking into, saying that they were going to be with Jesus, learn under his calling, and then essentially just give way to the church of Jesus Christ? And so I wonder if they're called, or if they understand. And then I also think sometimes you and I view the disciples, these 12 men, that they were like these great men of faith, and they were great men of faith, but I think we put them as like elite status in Christianity. And then the reality is that Jesus instilled just as much as them as he is instilled in us. He's called all of us individually. He has called all of us collectively in his church. And just as important as Peter is you in your community. Like that's the truth. It says in John 20 verse 29, Jesus is after his resurrection and Thomas is doubting him. He comes to him and he says, "Then Jesus told him, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." That's you and me. That's us, the ones who've not seen Jesus, and yet we follow him. We devote our lives, and sometimes we think because we put these disciples on such a pedestal, we get to write off things in our life and just kind of be like, well, I don't need to follow Jesus like that because I'm not one of these like elite disciples. No, you are a disciple of Christ, and God has called you accordingly. You have just as much responsibility. You have just as much obligation to share the gospel of faith with your friends, family, and coworkers. These men just dropped their nets. They walked away from their family. They walked away from their livelihood. They walked away from their home, their friends, to just tell others about Jesus, to learn from him, to understand what he was doing, and then ultimately giving their lives. You and I need to remember that we are just as called as the disciples were. We don't have the excuse of just saying, hey, well, I'm not this elite Christian. You are one who's called, and like Jesus says, hey, those disciples, they saw me while I was living. They saw me in the resurrection. Man, how much more blessed are you and I that we believe even though we don't see. And that's something that we struggle with. But guess what? God sees that and he honors it. And guess what? You and I have the ability to just push past some of that negativity and some of that doubt and go, hey, God, I'm going to serve you with my entire life today. So I challenge you this week, every day that you wake up, just be thankful for the breath that you have in your lungs. And then also just take that moment to acknowledge, God, today is all for you. I love you all. I hope that you have a great day.